It's such a pleasure to be here. I'm curious if anyone was here last year, when we got to chat about kind of busting through burnout and some resiliency skills there. This really goes really well together as a follow-up to that, because one of the resiliency skills that we talked about was really being intentional and having a personal mission, vision, and kind of values that are tied to that, which we want to align with our goals for the new year. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen in just a second. I know that we're kind of all coming in here, so I wanted to get a sense of who's in the room so that I know who I'm talking to. So if you will, and Anna, maybe you can help me with this, call out, anyone can share maybe what profession you're in or what area you're in and your age. And that'll give me a little bit of an idea of where you're at in life and in career, although that can obviously be really different and vary. So thank you so much in advance for sharing that. As Anna maybe has mentioned, I've been in this field for over 15 years. I was trying not to give away my age here, but I love what I do. And I'm really excited, since it's such a small group. We can workshop maybe some things. It'll be really active today. Hopefully you received the document that you can keep on your own, and I will offer, those that have pre-registered for this, or really anyone through Women of Tomorrow, to reach out to me. So I'll have my contact information as well if you want to kind of continue and diving into these topics. Okay. So very good. Do we have anything so far? Anna, anyone sharing?
Nothing in the chat yet, but who would like to start introducing themselves? Lexi, when you were trying to talk, I don't know why, but we still couldn't hear you. I don't think it came across. Do you want to try again?
Are you able to hear me now? Wonderful. All right. Perfect. I am actually an employee with Women of Tomorrow. My first day was yesterday, so I'm joining this to just better understand the organization and get to know some of the team in Miami. And I am our business operations manager here.
Wonderful. Welcome.
Thank you, Lexi. Alexandra, do you want to introduce yourself?
You're on mute.
Yeah, you're on mute.
Thank you. My name is Alexandra Penagos. I have been with Women of Tomorrow since high school. It's been a couple of years. I went to medical school and I graduated as a physician, and currently I am studying for my boards to get into residency.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Awesome.
Very nice. Yeah. Anna?
No pressure. If no one wants to come on camera, that's okay too.
My name is Anna. I'm with the Women of Tomorrow since high school too. But right now I'm currently working in the telecommunications industry with cell towers. So just got to keep going.
Very nice.
Awesome. And Jill?
Hello. Sorry about that. I wasn't planning on turning on my camera, but here.
We can hear you.
Yes, I'm having a little bit of a Hi, sorry, I apologize for that. It's been a little crazy today, but I love joining everything that Anna puts together, and I'm really excited to hear what you have to say, Shelley. So I'm really anxious to see this. And I wasn't able to join, but all our schools are closed today. I had a meeting at one of our schools and it was canceled. So, I'm really glad to be able to join today.
Good. I'm really glad to have you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jill, for joining. I like you so much too.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to jump in to, again, as I mentioned, of course, I have a deck. You got to have a deck, but also some of the interactive activities. Did everyone receive your PDFs? If not, I have images of that, so no worries. We will run through that together. So let me begin to share. And my major is psychology, not technology. So I may have some issues come up and we'll just work through them, okay? All right. So we're going to go into full screen, which tends to activate my nervous system here. So we're going to get into kind of just identifying, I call it right, MVV. We've heard of this within organizations, but oftentimes we don't have it as individuals. So your mission, vision, and values and how that aligns, or maybe could align with your goals for 2024. So of course, last time we did cats for those that were with me. So this time we're going to check in. If you will, please put in the chat according to how you're feeling today, right? ¿Cómo estás hoy? On a scale of puppy dog, I had a cat before and now I just got a puppy. So this is just for my amusement. And you may see him around just in case. If he barks, it's going to be okay. How are you feeling? Anna, I can't see the chat very much because of my full view. So if you want to call that out,
Yep, absolutely. So Anna Ramirez, she put a 3, and and so did I. I put a 3 as well. Maybe.
Awesome. Anything else? Are we 3s? Often when I support another nonprofit, and usually they're like a 5 or a 6 when I see those youngsters.
Alexandra put a 3 and a 5.
A 3 and a 5. Good. The lunchtime slump. Yes, I get it. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you for that. I always get a kick out of this. This is a little
Jill
selfish.
put a 1, a 3, and a 6.
Ooh, coming in with the mixed emotions. I love it. She's speaking my language here. Okay, very good. All right. So learning objectives for today, right? What are we going to cover? We want to define or begin to define. This will be something that you refine, right, over time. Your mission and your vision. We're gonna identify what maybe at least one of those aligned goals may be. We're gonna learn a little bit about the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method. There's many methods to work through goal setting, but that's one that we're gonna touch on. And then of course, I wouldn't be doing what I do if I don't talk about kind of self-regulation as part of the vital part of this process here. So why goals, right? Some questions to maybe think about. Do you go where you aim yourself? If so, how? This how question is so important. I find it so valuable to think about. And what is your why? What is your why? Right? We know the power of why. And so we will go with that. So it is, as I mentioned, a resiliency skill to have intentionality as a part of preventing and really being able to work through burnout. So just kind of what does intentionality mean? It helps us really come back to our internal locus of control. It helps us tolerate pain, right? As we're growing, it helps us provide some self-validation, and our goals mature, right, as we become more and more intentional. So I'm curious here if does anybody already has developed a personal mission, vision, or value statements? So oftentimes I know when I used to work in corporate, we would have that in the corporate area. And of course, in my psychology field, we might do that for our department, but has anyone done that personally for themselves?
I've done it in the past, but I can tell you that like I haven't, it's not like I have one, okay, this is my purpose, my mission, and I'm gonna frame it, I'm gonna put it in my own. No, but I have had the experience of doing it at a women's seminar, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very, very good. Thank you for sharing, Anna. Right, some of us have gone to really, really cool seminars where they will really encourage and kind of challenge us to kind of think about this question. And if you haven't, now is the time, right? So really, I love what you said, Anna, which is kind of, I've done this before, but maybe I don't have it front of mind. And This is something that continues to evolve with you. So you might write one today and maybe check in a few months, 6 months, every year, and continue to work just like we'll do with our goals and continue to see how they grow, how they align, and how they continue to mature. So part one, right? A big part of our intentionality is being mission driven. Okay, so there are some really key questions here that I love to do. And so caveat for today, I actually decided to leave off the value section just because it'll get really, really long, but I really encourage you, it's the third piece here, to really get into that. And again, if you have any questions, you can feel free to follow up with me. But for today's time, we're going to focus on the mission, vision, and then the goals. Okay. So when we think about these, you can feel free to write it on your computer, a piece of paper, or if you have the document that I sent, now would be the time to kind of grab that. I like going, when I do this exercise with clients, I like starting with kind of this bottom question, part one, number 5, right? So what are your greatest strengths? This is just something I'm going to ask you to think about, maybe jot a few things down as I'm talking. What are my greatest strengths? If anyone wants to share, whether in the chat or come off audio or come off mute, you're able to kind of do that now. But if not, we can also just sit with that question. Hopefully you're aware. Another way to think about that is, what are the things that maybe my loved ones say are my strengths or that they really appreciate about me? What do my coworkers say? Sometimes it's harder for us to think about our strengths, but it's so valuable to do that. What is really important to you? What is really important to you? If we distill it down, what's really important to you, right? For some people, family might be really important. For others, kind of financial stability might be really important. Usually a combination of those things. This one's interesting. Number 3, what dreams do you have for yourself that are as yet unfulfilled? What dreams do you have for yourself? So again, encourage you to actually write this down as we're talking and as we're reflecting. It's a great opportunity to kind of do this together. Number 2, I love these. What do you want to be when you grow up? I ask myself this still all the time. Love it. What do you want to be when you grow up? And number 1, which I find it's the hardest, which is why I leave it for last in this part 1. Why are you alive and what is your purpose for living on this planet? If you don't have the answer to that question, it's okay. It's a deep one. It's a deep question. So we can set it aside, we can come back to it, right? I think today will also help us understand that a little bit better. All right, so I'm going to pause there. I know those were like 5 big questions. How are we doing? Are we okay? Is there any questions about the questions? Everybody following, ready to move on, or do we want to pause?
I think we're good. No feedback on the chat.
Okay, awesome. So this next piece is part 2. I really love this. So I'm going to actually ask you to really, maybe you didn't write down part 1 because you're like, oh yeah, I thought about that before. But part 2, it's interesting what comes out here. And this is a bit of a, I want it to be like a visceral reaction from you and a visceral response. So I'm going to read the first piece, right? It is my mission to, and I want you to respond and write it down. Okay, usually it can be 1 word, it can be a phrase, but don't get too cerebral about it, right? Just whatever comes out. Okay, so goes like this. It is my mission to live. It is my mission to work. It is my mission to continue. It is my mission to love. It is my mission to be. It is my mission to become. It is my mission to believe. All right. Hopefully you got at least a few of those. I always find it beautiful how kind of just what comes up. And what I'll ask you to pay attention to here is, what did you notice? Kind of oftentimes there's a recurring theme, right, with what came up for you. And usually part one and part two kind of will go well together. So I want to pause for a second. And I'm actually going to stop sharing here, just so that we can kind of check in and see if anyone wants to share. If not, then Anna's in the hot seat here. What kind of came up for you? What you thought, was that hard? Was that kind of easier? Did that flow? Was it challenging? Just want to get a kind of a temperature check.
Come on, guys, because then I'm in the hot seat.
Help Anna out. And maybe you're like, you're going too fast, slow down. So let me know.
Okay, I'm in the hot seat. All right, go.
All right, Anna. So what would you like to share? How was that experience for you?
I went with like the natural word that came out, like that came to mind and didn't even pause because there was a pace, right, too. So it's my mission to live happy and full. Ask me what that means. I don't know if it's full of and not hungry. So, but happy for sure. It is my mission to work excited and proud about my work. I've always thought that was really important, and you've known me forever, and I really think that if I'm not excited or proud or about what I'm doing, I'm very quickly like just it's my mission to continue my legacy, and improving it. That's what I put there. It is my mission to love passionately. It is my mission to be successful all around, and that doesn't, that encompasses a lot of things for me. To become, a leader. People, I think it's important that people are able to say, she is able to lead other people well. That's really important to me. I think you lead by serving. And then it is my mission to believe in the good in people. That was what I wrote. I don't know how I remember it.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. And there are 3 more of these in the actual document, so I just kept it short to those 7. But there's actually kind of 3 more there, right? So when I want to start differentiating here the idea of mission versus like vision. Okay, so mission. I'll ask you, Anna, since you're the hot seat of the day. When you think about mission, your mission, what does that mean to you? What do you think about?
I don't know if I can differentiate the two, I really don't know how to.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for your honesty. That's helpful. So I used to get confused a lot, right? Like mission, vision, it's kind of, it can kind of be intertwined. Obviously, it's connected. So the way that I like to kind of look at it as is, the vision is the long-term kind of goal, right? That's what we're going to do a really nice exercise I'm really excited about. The vision is the long term, right? What are we looking at? where am I going, right? Kind of off into the future. What's the outcome? Okay. What does that look like? What does that feel like? Okay. Literally, like emotion wise, physically or physiologically in my senses, right? What does that feel like? What does that look like? Okay. Really painting that picture. And then mission is, what do I want to carry out daily in my day to day, that if I do this on a day to day, it's going to lead me there over time. Okay. So mission is really, how am I showing up? And it's really, really tied to our values as well. So I really encourage you to go back and do that values work as part of this. And so with that said, right, zoning back into mission, and then we'll go to the rest. What we want to do is maybe start out. I'm actually going to give you all maybe 2 minutes here. I'm going to reshare my screen. And this is the kind of template here. Okay. So my mission is to, right? This is one template. There's many, so you can feel free to adapt this or change this in whatever way feels good to you. Okay. But basically what we want to kind of set out is your mission, as I mentioned, is of course to live out your values, but what are some of the actions, the verbs for who, and kind of using what set of skills? How do you want to show up daily? Right? How do you want to show up? So kind of I will, or it is my mission to, it's another way to kind of say that. It is my mission to, and I'll share mine in just a second. And I want to also say that this is kind of starting out today, okay? But you will continue to wordsmith and play with this over the next maybe a couple days, couple weeks, or couple months, okay? And with this mission, I like to, oftentimes it's easy to write a lot here. And with eventually what this sentence here is maybe ends up being kind of your elevator speech for yourself. Right? And that also you can remember. Oftentimes we write these lofty, long mission statements that are really amazing and cool and exciting, but then we don't remember what they say. So the idea is that we can write and we can get it out. And I'll actually give a minute or two of silence. And eventually that we can distill that down into a sentence like this. So I'll set my timer for 2 minutes and give you time. If there's any questions, please go ahead and put that in the chat. I'll give you 2 minutes, starting now. We got 20 seconds. All right, and that is time. So hopefully that just gave you a space here to be able to start, right? Start thinking about what is my personal mission? Oftentimes it's kind of tied to what you're doing day to day with work. Sometimes it's tied more to other areas of your life. And so what I'll do now is I'll share kind of mine. When I say mine, I actually simplified even further. So my short version is, right, it is my mission to offer a safe space for the creation of new possibilities. Right, so that's pretty broad. So I can then add in, right, for who, for my community, my clients, and my children, right, or my focus areas. That's my audience that I really hone in on. And then I can add those skills, right, like using, right, the ability to be present, to, my passion and my perseverance, right? Some of the values that I include in that are really important to me are obviously physical and mental health, as well as personal and professional development. So, right, all of that, it starts getting longer, right? So I really like this super concise version that I've gotten to for myself, and it allows me that I can kind of do that wherever I go, right? I want to offer a safe space wherever I go, wherever I'm at, and I have these values that drive that, and that also helps me drive my vision, right? Where do I want to go? What does that look like? And I really believe that in the work that I do, we kind of want to go from kind of being disempowered to powerful, right? So lovely. So now, kind of, does anybody want to share? I'll pause there. Some people are like, "Oh my God, I got something really good and I really want to share," and other people are like, want to keep it close to their chest. So I respect that as well. Anybody have a question or want a workshop?
I'll share my mission that I kind of came up with, and it also ties back to just something I realized over the weekend is we all have a gift, and we've all been given a certain gift, and when we use that, we do good for others. And so it's my mission to use my gift to do a constant good for other people. And so that's kind of what I think I'm going to continue to live by. So
Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Lexi. I love that. Yeah, I agree. I agree. We all have different gifts. And when we understand that our gifts are different, we don't all have to be the same. We don't all have to be leaders. We don't all have to be entrepreneurs, right? We're all called to different things. And so just where's my role and how can I be mission driven? That when we think about burnout, for example, this is really important in preventing burnout, because what happens is that we give over our internal locus of control to our external, right? And I don't like to use stress. I use kind of demands, right? We have all these demands upon us and we feel like we lost control. We lost our purpose. We lost our ability to choose. And when we come back to, well, I'm showing up wherever I go, wherever I clock in, or whatever I do with, this is my mission. This is why I'm here. It really helps us feel more empowered. So next, I want to do, we want to move on to the vision piece, right? So this one's how it tends to be fun. So I'm actually going to play an audio visualization, okay? If you're in your office and you don't have the ability to close your eyes, that's perfectly fine. I'm going to invite you to maybe lower your gaze, maybe pick a set point that you want to look at as you listen to this audio. So I'm hoping that this kind of works out well. This is going to help us write down afterwards what came up for us, right, as part of our vision.
Wouldn't it be nice if we were always in control of the when and where in our lives? Yeah, yes, I'll get you those figures today.
Mom, check it out. I learned a new.
I think that's a commercial. So just 1 second. All right, it's this. It was playing earlier, Anna, right?
I was like,
Just
I'm stressed. I'm like, wait,
let's try
okay.
it again. Let's see if it might. We just have to might hear that.
Probably past the commercial.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me see if I can mute it during this commercial. It's a 30-second commercial.
While you do that, mine was, I don't know why, like
And some
my purpose
good
stressed
stuff.
me out. Was it my purpose or I don't know?
All
Like
right.
I wrote it, I'm like, I'm all right.
I think we're ready. Putting up the volume. Anna, just confirm if you can hear me okay. All
Yeah, I
right.
can hear you. No, that I was saying that like while before you press play that my legacy, like not my legacy, but my what were we my mission stressed me out. Like it was stressful to look at. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah. No, that's actually perfectly normal. So thank you for naming that so that we can like normalize it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. I do this work all the time one-on-one and with clients, and it can be a little stress, right, inducing. Our bodies will clench like, what? Yeah. Am I doing that, or just a lot to think about? So thank you for naming that. All right, let's see if everyone's ready. I'm going to ask you to actually just kind of take a breath as we transition to this vision piece. Let it go. Exhale longer than your inhale is really important when we want to slow down the heart. And we'll talk about that too. And maybe pick a point to focus on. And just this is going to be 3 minutes and 49 seconds. It's a great length to tune in and see what comes up for you, and then maybe have a pencil or pen handy and ready to write about it. And here we go.
Close your eyes. Lean back in your chair, relax, and take a few deep breaths. Now, I want you to start picturing yourself from above, looking down at yourself in your chair, in whatever room you're in. Now, begin to zoom out a little bit more and see yourself from the top of the room. Now pull back further and see the building and see the street. See the block and the neighborhood. And now see your city or your town. Now pull back even further and see your country and your continent. And then see the entire planet below you. Imagine the planet spinning beneath you, slowly at first, but then faster and faster. And as it picks up speed, the years spin by, one after the other. And then it slows down and comes to a rest. It's 20 years in the future. Now, I want you to begin to zoom in toward the Earth and find yourself somewhere in this future world. Where are you 20 years from now on a Tuesday morning? What do you look like? How have the years worn on your face, the joys and worries of the life you've lived? What are you wearing? What are you working on, and who are you working with? Who are you serving? What are the challenges that you're joyfully pursuing? Now, find yourself in your home, in your living room, and look around. What photos do you see? What friendships have you formed? What are the relics of a life well lived? What professional plaques do you see on your walls and your shelves? Now, spend a few moments looking around your home, taking notice of what's around you. Now, I want you to zoom back out of your home and out of the future and back into this city and this room and this chair. And whenever you're ready, open your eyes.
All right, very good. So I'll give you just 1 minute, maybe 30 seconds to write down anything that came up for you that you might want to capture. And you may want to use this framework of, right, my vision statement here, and it is my vision, right? This is, again, what I encourage you to do is include what you see, your emotions, what that feels like in your body. I know that this might be harder for some than others. That's part of the point. Or it might be really easy. Might flow. If anyone likes to share, just you can unmute or you can write in the chat, I want to share, but I'll go ahead and I'll move forward. How was that for you, Anna?
Yeah, I'll share because Lexi shared the other one. So it's my vision is completely different than what I am doing right now. Like it was like the complete opposite, right? You know, walking through a street, no traffic, it felt like a market. Like there was no asphalt in the street, like no, so it wasn't like paved roads, and it was like light and comfortable and non-worrying, very casual. I don't know if that's where I was supposed to go.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And that's not uncommon. So that's okay. First of all, it's 20 years in the future, right? We got a little bit of time to kind of get there. But it's an interesting thing to kind of think about. And if that is, that kind of future that you want to, that aligns again with your values, how do you begin to set your goals to align with that future, right? Which is kind of why we're here today. Because, if you said, what I saw was me as the CEO of this organization and hustle and bustle and flying and in jets and this and that, then that would be one thing. And so that's why it's, where are we aiming ourselves, right? Where do we really want to get to? Where do we want to go? And that would be amazing and awesome too. None is better or worse than the other or more valuable. So getting down to, as I may have mentioned, right, there's many ways to set our goals. This is one that I really like. There's many others. There is, so many. Full focus method of kind of goal setting, where they use the acronym SMARTER. and they add on it being something that really is like taking a risk, is that R at the end. So we do want our goals in general to kind of push our limits a little bit. We don't want them to be too easy, like, oh, I can do that easily, right? Then it's not a goal, just do it. We do want our goals to kind of push our edges just a little bit. There's other methods where and I often encourage having a goal for kind of professional and a goal for personal that you want to focus on. Overall, I do want to say this, okay? We tend to be overly ambitious and we want to set all of these goals, as we know, every year. And unfortunately, the majority of us, when we do that, end up not achieving most of them, if any. When we are scattered in our mind and our focus, trying to do too many things, we often don't really accomplish any of them. So with this, right, I want to kind of, with that vision and the mission, I'm going to ask you guys to actually just start writing down and jotting down what is maybe at least one, no more than 3 goals that you have for 5 years. We're going to kind of distill this down. What are 1 to 3 goals that you have for 5 years? So we're coming down from 20, right? We saw that. So that would lead into that. But 5 years, bringing it closer in. 1 to 3 goals for 5 years. Then it could be aligned, and I think that would make a lot of sense. What's 1 to 3 goals that you have in the next 4 months? So often the best cycle for goals, quote unquote best, one of the most common cycle for goals is a 3 to 4 month period. So like a quarter or a 90-day period is what we often will measure and see. But we can obviously have goals that are 3 weeks, 1 day, etc. Okay. Then distilling that down further, what would be a goal that would feed into that? Or it could be different. For 3 weeks into the future, a goal for 2 days. Now this is starting to get uncomfortable. 2 days. Ah! And I love this 1 hour. I think this is so important because what we know in the research about goals setting and achieving is that, and success in general, is that we build our momentum, our motivation, our successes with little small successes, right? So we actually get motivated with little small wins. And that's what we want to seek, the small wins, to create really the motivation for the bigger wins. Okay. So this is the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method. A couple of things here, okay? I'm gonna encourage you and really, really, right, I'm speaking to myself here now as well. Focus on one goal. If you want to do one goal personal, one goal professional, I'm with you. I hear you. I like to do that too. But really, what's one goal? And then what is an objective? Like what does that mean to you? And what are maybe a couple of actions, verbs that you understand what that action is? So let me see here. That might be the goal might be to lose weight. That's the big goal. Let's just say, very typical, right? My goal is to lose weight. Let's say in the future you saw yourself super, super healthy, right? And in 5 years, maybe that's, I want to have run a marathon. Okay. Maybe the goal is I want to be healthy. The objective might be I want to go to the gym 3 times a week and exercise, right? Let's just say I want to go to the gym regularly. Okay. You want to break that down. What does that mean? Okay. Okay. So I want to go to the gym Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or 3 times per week. Get as specific as you can. So specific and measurable are one of the constants, even when we don't use the term SMART goals. We want to make sure they're consistent, specific, and measurable. Okay. So make sure you always have actions that are really easy to measure. And the next thing I'll say is schedule this. So schedule this 1 hour. What are you doing in the next hour? Maybe that's putting it on your calendar. Maybe that is having an accountability buddy that you reach out to. Yes, maybe that's, oh, okay, I have my water bottle, drink more water. I'm doing that in the next hour. I'm finishing this water bottle. Okay, what is it in that next hour that you will do? And then in the next 2 days. All right, so I know I want to have time for a few questions, but I want to definitely give you this a few goal setting tools. And then I will send you and share the science of setting and achieving goals. Many of you may be aware of and familiar with Dr. Andrew Huberman, who runs the Huberman Lab. He's amazing. He has a few different podcast episodes around goals, motivation, focus, which I think will be really great, that I recommend. A few of those tools that I want to just talk about right now. So motivation tools. This is really interesting, and clients tend to be surprised by this one. So if you have scheduled this in your calendar, okay, have this goal, and I want to go to the gym, and you wake up and you're really motivated and pumped, like I have energy, I slept good, I'm going to go to the gym. Great. What you want to do to enhance that motivation is actually picture like how you're going to feel after. I'm going to feel so good. I'm going to be energized, right? What is that? What is the favorable outcome that you're getting out of this? And that's going to just fuel your motivation. However, what happens all of those times when we're just not feeling it? Right? When you get up and you're like, I do not want to go to the gym today. I actually tried this out months ago and it worked really well for me. And so I really, right, I can feel it. And so we use fear, basically. We use our nervous system tapping into what's going to happen if I don't do this. So actually the opposite outcome, right? Kind of the negative outcome. And what happens often is that like our system responds, right? Our body will tighten, our heart will start to beat. We're actually using a little bit of fear as a motivator here in a good way, okay? And oftentimes that will help us be like, okay, let me get up and let me go because I don't want that, right? I don't want that other outcome. So that's one little motivation tool. It's free, simple, right? We don't need an app for it. That I like to use myself and that I recommend. Another one that we might think about is what about visual aids? So as you see here, I really like this idea of having a journal, a planner, I have a board, visual aids where you can constantly be seeing your goals and your progress. Now, what's really interesting about this is that the science says, and if we think about it, it makes sense. I bet everybody's like nodding their head when I say this. When we use, for example, sticky notes to help us remember things or help us like stay on track, if that sticky note, that board, or even I used to have my mission statement right in front of me, the way that our visual system works is that it begins to like blank it out. We no longer see it. It becomes impervious, right, to our kind of conscious awareness. So we actually want to constantly be moving any visual aid and continue to write it down, right? So I would write it on my board. I might have a sticky note. I'll move the sticky note. We want to have different ways to motivate, to help us just, motivate ourselves or keep us focused and keep this in our conscious awareness. But it doesn't work if you just, set it and forget it. And then one of the most important things when we talk about focus and coming back to this idea of I'm gonna set a goal and I'm gonna have this action item and I'm gonna do this action item, that we think about that in the book Indistractable, they talk about first, number one, anybody will talk about this first, is the internal agitation that comes up when we're trying to focus on something and complete a goal or a task. Okay, and that's where the focus tools come into play. This is something that I touched on last time. And it's basically dysregulation that happens in your body And so I will send these and share these. One of the ones that Dr. Andrew Huberman talks about in this podcast specifically is the peripheral shift or peripheral view, focusing on unfocusing your eyes. Okay. I always recommend about 5 times will help you actually increase kind of your heart rate. It helps you come out of tunnel vision, calm your nervous system and come back to focus. Breath is always really important, and scanning your body to notice, right? When I just clicked away or when I looked away, what was going on? What was the discomfort that was happening? And how can I self-regulate to bring me back to focus? Okay, so that's really, really huge. So I'm happy to share this. I know we're at time, so I want to stop sharing this. And lastly, say that this all sits upon really good self-care. Right? When we're not sleeping well, we're not eating well, we're not moving our bodies, it's really hard to focus on our goals and to focus at all.